Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. Y'all, so one time I was talking to someone and they were telling me that the company that they worked for, one of the worst things that could ever happen to the boss is that boss would receive a bad Yelp review. Right now, statistically, just one bad review can lose you up to 30 new customers, right? But even if you've had even if you have people who've already done business with you, if they spot that bad review, although they've already patroned your establishment, 80% of them will decide to reverse their decision to return, meaning they won't come back. 8 out of 10 people that have already done business with you will not return if they read a bad review. And so can we talk about the power of a bad review? Immediately it impacts you because most times we read reviews before we buy something. We read reviews before we visit. We like to read the review before we get in to decide, is this going to be good for me? Is this experience going to fit me? And so the reviews can either amp you up and get you excited, or they can totally turn you off and you're like, no, I got to find somewhere else. Psychologically, even seeing something negative is enough to get you to not even want to experience or explore it, okay? And so this reading is giving me the energy of somebody that wrote a bad review, but the review was really about a beautiful experience, right? So here's the thing. I want you to imagine that you got a church family, but you got a work family. Now, for years, when you celebrate your work family, you rent out your church. They let you use the kitchen. They let you use the parking lot, the rooms. You have access to the whole building, all the amenities, any games and fun stuff that churches have, to celebrate their congregation. Well, you can have access to all of it for your work family. And so every summer when you've been celebrating your work family, you've been partnering with your church family, right? In order to make this event come alive. And guess what? It's been wonderful summer after summer after summer. Well, what happens as a business owner when you just want to decide, this year I'm going to do Dave & Buster's. We always go to the church, but I think I'm going to take them to Dave & Buster's or, some kind of fun spot like that. And so typically your church family sees your event kind of roll around on the calendar during the same time of years. And the sisters of the church, they just love helping you celebrate your work family. Now, when you don't put your employee celebration on the church's calendar, the sisters are like, well, are we doing it this year? Is the weather bad? Has something happened? Did they cancel it? Or right? And so in your mind, you're already considering Dave & Buster's, but you didn't really have the conversation with the sisters of the church. But the sisters of the church are having a conversation because they were kind of looking for that event to be already on the calendar so that they could get things in motion. Now, what you are really doing is consulting party planners. You're looking up packages that Dave & Buster's offers, right? I mean, you're really excited for what this event could be like in a new location. No tea, no shade for the church. But this is just something that you are considering to do a little different this year. Well, unbeknownst to you, the church sisters do not like the fact that you are considering somewhere else. So what do they decide to do? Well, they hear through the grapevine that you're thinking about taking your work family to Dave & Buster's. And so the sisters of the church decide to go online and to write reviews about negative experiences that they say they had, but they didn't have at Dave & Buster's. And the goal is when you tell this church family that you have decided to use a new location to celebrate your work family, they are going to whip out that Yelp review as a way to convince you that, hey, you better think about this now. You know how much you love your employees. You don't want to take them to somewhere and them not have a good time. Every time you come to the church for the summer, we always have a good picnic, right? And so their thing is like, all right, fine. You want to look at Dave & Buster's? We are going to make sure that it is unattractive. We're going to turn you off, right? And so they want to impact the credibility. Psychologically, just seeing a bad review is enough to make you not even run. And so their thing is they can't tell you not to celebrate at Dave & Buster's, right? because you're free to do it. But what they can do is they can establish, or they can put things in motion in order to kind of turn you off or make the idea a little less appealing. And so church sisters went behind your back and wrote a whole bunch of reviews. So finally, when you approached them to tell them that, I think I found a new location, Dave & Buster's, to celebrate my work family. I think that's where we're going to do it this year, right? And so the sisters are like, oh, well, let's go online and let's see what it's about. And so they get all excited thinking, oh, well, okay, well, we can just help you at Dave & Buster's if you don't want to do it at the church. We can help in any way we can. Now, they're online looking, and guess what? They bring to the attention of all of the bad reviews that people have written about group celebrations and private events, and it doesn't work out, and the food's cold, and they didn't get the order right. So these sisters have been writing. They've been writing. And so when you finally tell them that you've decided not to use the church location, well, they are locked and loaded and ready. Right? So now they pull out all of the reviews that they've written under different accounts and different names. They're not going to tell you it's them. They're not going to tell you it's them. And the idea is for you to, baby, just come back on home to the church. Just come on home to the church, right? Now, y'all, this really happened. This is what this reading is giving me. Now, I just created that event, but whatever. In this reading, I see that there was a main male who was trying to strategize something. This is a man who, for most of his life, it seems like he sacrificed family for career. So this is somebody that has been very hardworking, not because they're neglectful, but that's just the nature of him. This is somebody that can go to work every day and never take a day off, no matter how their body is feeling, no matter what they're emotionally going through. This is somebody that really considers the strength of their home to match their work ethic, right? And so I know that my home is provided for because I'm working. And if I'm not working, I no longer know my home is being provided for. But at some point, this man started to switch maybe the efforts that he put in his work life. Well, it seems like at some point he crossed paths with somebody that he was interested in, like a relationship, right? And so maybe he not that he was slacking off at work, but maybe work didn't have as much appeal or control over him because he now crossed paths with a woman. We'll just call it a woman. It doesn't say it's a woman, but in this reading, I'm just going to put it like that, right? So there's a man who was a workhorse, a workaholic. And he always thought that my family and my home life is secure if I'm working. But now when you cross paths with somebody that has a different energy, a different vibration, a different frequency, all of a sudden work ain't as exciting. Because guess what? Now you want to be home. Now you just can't wait to leave work because you want to get home and call her. You want to get home and see her. You want to get out, right? So imagine that there was a man that was kind of rebuilding his life, but from the inside out. It's because something emotionally touched him, something mentally touched him. And so the strategy that he had been using to run his life, at some point he recognized that he was sacrificing the family experience for his career. Now, he thought that everything he was sacrificing was really building the home and the family, which it was, but it was the internal, it was the emotional piece that he didn't have access to, that he wasn't getting to explore and experience. But when you cross paths with somebody that touches your heart, that moves your spirit, that warms your soul, somebody that carries on an entirely different thought process, it can shift you. Right? And so the power of your perspective can change based on the frequency and the vibration of another. So this main man is starting to move different in his life. Not that he's not going to work, but maybe just the energy that he's carrying. Maybe it's when he's outside of work that he's doing different things with his time. Okay? Now, he wants to pursue this new relationship. He wants to pursue it. It's a bright idea. Maybe he's getting counsel. Maybe he's asking people. Maybe he's setting things up in place to make sure that he can accommodate this new energy, this fresh person, this fresh feeling. In this man's mind, this was a blessing. This was a fulfillment. This was something new, but it was bright. It was something that he wanted to take action on. But whatever he had already been bound to and contracted in his life previously, didn't see the value in him changing how he's always done things, right? So that's the idea that, listen, every summer you've done this event here and we've all been happy and we've all loved it and it's all been a success. And so why now do you want to shift and do something different? And the thing is that sometimes we will be pushed to try new things, to consider new people, to jump into new realms. And the people that don't have that same push aren't supposed to have that push. And some of them will attempt to pull you back instead of pushing you forward. And so this is the deal about relationships and contracts. There are some contracts that are permanent and some contracts that are temporary. The temporary contracts are not going to be able to handle your growth, right? Because when they've attached to you for temporary reasons, when you start to grow, when those temporary reasons start to expire, well, they don't know how to attach to you anymore, right? But that's why you can't attach to things that change. You can't attach to superficial things because the only thing we all know is that change is real and change cannot be stopped, okay? So there are some times in our life where we have contracts with people, but they're temporary contracts, and you will know they are temporary because when you attempt to change or to grow in a certain area and those people can't support you, the way they respond to your growth tells you, can they grow with me or must I grow past them? And so this is a main male who has to grow past a certain group. He has to grow past contracts that he's been establishing with people. He's got to break those contracts. It's not even grow past them. I think that in this reading, he did grow past them, but they weren't willing to release him or to let him grow. They couldn't honor the growth. Right? But not everybody gets the call. Not everybody gets the push. Not everybody gets the assignment. And so when something is dropped in your spirit, when there's something innovative and exciting and there's something new, you got to honor it because not everybody got that drop in their spirit. Now, sometimes when you start to honor the drops that you're getting in your spirit, some people are going to want to pull you backwards and to convince you that, hey, you sure that's what Spirit said? You sure that's a good move? You sure you want to make that change? It's always been good when we did it this way. Now, people they want you to doubt. Not that you need to because you got the inspiration. Spirit is not going to spark you and then doubt it at the same time. Spirit won't do that. Yes, and so if you get an innovative new idea, that is Spirit. The doubt, the fear, and the shame, that's the ego that doesn't understand what Spirit is trying to move you towards. Your ego is attached to the contracts that you've built with people, places, and things. And so anything attached to your ego is not always able and capable of honoring the messages and the urgings of your spirit. And so this is literally a masculine who was ready to pursue a different type of feminine or a different type of project, a different type of venture. Now, I see that this masculine crossed paths with a lover who was so comfortable and so satisfying and so patient, right? And all of a sudden, when you meet this type of person, it makes you think about home and family different. Work is work, but you're really working so that you can get back home to that type of energy. That's the type of energy you want to build a home with. That's the type of energy you want to have a relationship with. And so something in the mind and in the heart and in the spirit of this masculine started to shift. And whoever he had contracts with previously in his life, y'all, they didn't have to be intimate, literally church family. So this could just be family members or a group of people who supported you almost as a church would throughout your life. These people are not always going to understand the drops that you've gotten in your spirit. And some of them will go so far as to get you to doubt that you even got it. They'll get you to consider that, you know what I mean? And so this is where you got to know you. This is where you have to trust you. And so I see that at some point somebody was going full speed in a new direction, but it was a new direction that honored what they were feeling inside. And whatever the connections were of their past, they were like, we got to stop this. But instead of coming to you and saying, well, tell me why you're thinking or feeling, well, it's really not their business. They don't really need to know why you're moving different or choosing. It's nobody's business. Right? And so sometimes in real life, but also this reading is saying that instead of allowing somebody to explore and to pursue their ideas, their passions, their interests, which this was another person. This was in another person. This was in another relationship. This is somebody that wanted to restructure their home life and their career life. They didn't want to have to sacrifice all of their time with their family just to go earn money because they're missing the beauty of what it feels like to have a family. And so this is somebody that is passionately pursuing fulfillment, but it is wish come true type of fulfillment. This is somebody recognizing that I've been a part of this group, but I just walked into a person that has all 9 cups and he's the missing cup. Can you imagine meeting somebody that has all 9 cups? Right now, emotional fulfillment, the 10 of cups is like, a heart like bliss and happiness and unconditional love. So you just met somebody that got 9 cups and all you got to do is take your 1 cup and add on. And together you get to be the 10 of cups, which means this 10 of cup church group that you've been a part of. I mean, at some point it's okay to walk away from them and to develop a new way, but are they willing to let you walk away? And so the way that they decided to get you to stay, to get you to turn around, to get you to not consider that this was truly the fulfillment that the Most High sent to you is they create a message of concern. They plant a seed. So they plant a seed of doubt. They plant a seed of worry. They plant a seed of confusion. They plant a seed of negativity. They just want you to be hesitant, right? And so the way that they plant the seed is by writing a bad review, by saying something negative. But sometimes if you're telling somebody something good, this is why you can't talk to everybody about what you're doing, because the momentum of your spirit matters. So if you're all excited and you're moving in one direction and you're telling everybody, and then imagine somebody's like, "Oh, are you sure about that?" Or, "Oh, I don't know about that. You sure you don't want to take time and think?" You know what I mean? It's like they undermine your own intelligence. They make you think that you don't even know you. And so there was a masculine who was talking about or getting counsel about this new energy that he crossed paths with. And whoever he was speaking to says to him, "Don't forget about the dual nature of people." Meaning everybody has 2 sides. The side that you're telling us about, that sounds good. But what about the other side of this person, right? Don't lose your vigilance. You got to be focused, right? Is this really who that person is? Is this, and so this is somebody who has met an authentic person, but they went back to the group that they've been contracted with. And this group tells them that whatever they're looking at, whatever they're considering to be authentic, unique, and different is most likely a mask. And it is when they tell this masculine that the dual nature of people must be considered, that's all they had to say. That is all they had to say to plant a seed of doubt. That's all they had to do to betray or to stab somebody in the back, or, you know what I mean? And so imagine, again and again and again, people have been writing bad reviews. People have been speaking negatively. People, at some point, that energy is going to land and it's going to stick. And so if you want to grow a relationship, you can't grow a relationship with that kind of energy. And so that is the point of this group, of this 10 of cups, of this collective, is to stop this masculine from wanting to grow in a new direction, right? Because it's a direction that they can't grow with him in. Okay, y'all, my 4-year-old walked in, Easton. So I had to pause it for a second. So the way the reading concludes is the energy, the lover that came in with something authentic that this masculine had not experienced before. That lover walks away. That lover, I have 8 of cups. And so at some point, I feel like the masculine started to behave in a way where it was almost like the same woman that he was so enamored by, he now put her up where he expected her to win his trust, right? He was all excited to pursue it, but then the seeds of doubt that were seeded in him by the people that he'd already been connected to, now he starts to doubt, become fearful. Now he doesn't trust the experience. Now he's looking at it sideways. And it's not because it has changed. It's not because the woman isn't who she is. It's not because the energy that they're carrying is false or different or less than. No, it is because somebody distorted the masculine's energy. But when you are not aware of the people that you are connected and contracted to, you will sometimes be carrying energies, ideas, and thoughts and feelings and emotions that represent the group and not necessarily you, which is why when something drops in your spirit, you got to know where it's dropping from. And the Most High will not bring you fulfillment. The Most High will not bring you a lover that possesses patience and kindness and understanding and then get you to doubt and then trick you. Like, that's not the Most High. And so in this reading, I've recognized that at some point, the patient lover that was dropped in the spirit, that was dropped in the life of a masculine that had probably slaved away for years, that had sacrificed for years. This is almost like he's finally getting the peace he needed to build the home that he was really working to create. But whoever was attached to him, those cups that had been pouring into him or he had been pouring into years, they don't want him to take. Listen, if he meets somebody that has 9 cups, well, he don't need those 10. Right now, he can just pour into those and get all 10 right back. He can pour into one and get 10 back. Yes. And so the masculine in this reading, it seems like he started to take on an air of, well, if you want to be with me, you got to win me. You got to win my trust. And so it's almost like putting this energy, this feminine energy through the ringer, making her go through obstacles, challenges, and leaps in order to prove that she is what she is. Now, anybody that already knows anybody that possesses patience has been through some things. Let me tell you that. See, a lot of times when people are patient, we consider that to be weak because they can endure. But somebody that can endure is somebody that doesn't walk away. It's somebody that can carry weight. It's somebody that can go without getting their desires met and still stand next to you. Right? And so the same person that possesses that patience, we almost consider it to be a weakness because they're there. But what happens when you start to test that patience? What happens when you start to make them jump through hoops and perform tasks? First of all, patience is a godly spiritual gift. And so it comes from the Most High, and there's no divine being that is going to use their patience for foolery. They know the difference. They know when to be patient, and they know what they are being patient for. They will not be patient for anybody that fools with them, anybody that overlooks them. They will not be patient for people that can't see them, people that couldn't. No, we cannot waste our spiritual fruits on a fleshly fool, right? And so a lot of people want you to prove yourself, to prove the spiritual things that you have acquired. And they will put you through fleshly tests, or they will want you to appease their flesh with your spiritual gifts or your spiritual attributes. And so in this reading, I see that the same divine being that was the wish fulfillment calmly and peacefully walked away. She 8 of Cups. She walked away. Nobody is going to stay and misuse their own divine gifts for somebody that doesn't recognize. Like, for what? Do you know how long it takes to become divinely patient? Do you know how long you got to go without what you really want? Do you know how long you have to go without your desires being met? And so this is where people get it wrong. This is where people misread you. This is where people think that they can put you through a test, but they don't understand that you are the test. I am the test, and you have failed. Like, you know what I mean? This is what this reading is. And so somebody who was expecting to kind of win your trust or wanting you to prove who you were and what you were, right? And so now You're not proving who you are because this person didn't see it when they first met you. You're proving who you are because these people who didn't cross your path, who didn't get to have you dropped in their life, it's because they don't understand why somebody else got access to something that they didn't. These are haters. These are jealous people. These are envious people that aren't going to tell you that they don't want you to have what they can't have. And God knows if you have been somebody who's been slaving for years, giving money to your family, your sisters, your auntie, your uncle, right? If you have been filling your whole family's cup, they're not going to let you walk away. But you got to know that those contracts were bad to begin with. And so sometimes the Most High will send you a good contract, a healthy contract, in order to give you the fulfillment that you've never had. But if you haven't recognized that all of those shitty contracts that you are still bound to them, and if you have not disconnected them, then the bad contracts are going to make your good contract null and void. So when this patient feminine energy walks away, right? Listen, when you possess spiritual gifts, you are working. Your first job is your discipleship, right? And so the way you live your life is your discipleship. Obedience matters. The works that you perform, it's because you are being obedient to a command. You are being obedient to an instruction. And so if the Most High commands you to land in someone's life and to show up in a way that is patient and peaceful and calm and simple, right? If you were supposed to provide that to somebody, but they don't know how to receive you. If they don't know how to receive you, then your discipleship must move on. You cannot stay. You don't have to prove to somebody else that you are divine. That is for them to find out. And a lot of times people won't find it out until you walk away. It is in your absence that they recognize what you carried. It is when you walk away with your 9 cups that they turn back around and look at those 10 cups that they've been with for however long. And they're like, y'all ain't hitting on nothing, right? Sometimes you got to experience the gift and then you got to lose it, only so that you can reevaluate what you've been sitting in for all these years. Sometimes people will need to experience you and lose you again. And they got to lose you again because they still haven't looked at what they're bound to and attached to. Listen, how do you maintain 9 cups, but you got 10 cups over you? And so at some point, a choice has to be made. Now, whenever this feminine energy walks away from whoever felt like they could put her through a test, I literally have the 4 of Pentacles. Somebody can't let you go. So even if you walked away, even if this is how the situation played out, somebody's holding on to you. They can't let you go. And what they can't let go is the experience. It's the way you felt in their physical world. It's the way you showed up. That was real. You can't fake that. And can you imagine losing something that you can't replace? If it took you 36 years to experience this type of energy, what makes you think that it won't take you another 36 to get it again? Okay? And so when people are writing bad reviews, when people are convincing you that what the Most High has just dropped in your life is not true fulfillment, they have the ability to trick you out of your spot. And so if you are not mentally strong, if your ego, if your mental is not locked in with your heart space, well, then how many times are you going to miss a blessing? How many times are you going to misread your own gifts? You can open up a gift and think it's a curse. And the reality is everybody you're attached to is a curse. They're never going to tell you that you have found a gift because they are the curse. Break the curse, experience the gift, right? Disconnect from the curses and then go open your gift. But you cannot be walking around carrying all your curses thinking that you are going to be able to open up and enjoy the beauty and the bounty of the gifts that the divine is giving you. Y'all, that was this reading. Now, whoever you had to walk away from, listen, because a divine being that has spiritual gifts, in order to maintain those gifts, you got to maintain your peace. You have to be able to go into that inner space to commune with the Most High. And so anybody that threatens the inner peace of a divine being, you will have to experience life without them. They're going to have to walk away. Their discipleship requires it. Obedience requires it. You guys, Listen, how long did it take you to get your fruits of the Spirit? How long? I'll wait. How long did it take you to become who you are? What did you have to go through? What did you have to grow through to become who you are? You refuse to squander, to give it away, to be misunderstood, to be... People can say what they want to say about you, but you're going to be you and you're going to do you. And anybody that wants to see you as less, it's because they haven't seen themselves as more. And so they can't even imagine that you're real. They can't even imagine that something like you exists. And the reason why they can't imagine that something like you exists is because they're tied to people who don't exist like you. Yes? And so whenever the divine being 8 of cups, it was really an achievement. It was an obedience. It was a work that God asked you. God said, walk away. All right, now I put you there and I need you to walk away. And somebody was expecting you to fight for their attention, fight for their understanding, fight for their... Nope, you got to go. And now the same person that you had to walk away from can't release you. They can't release you. And so I feel like the same test that they were putting you through to prove yourself. Now this person is wanting to come back and win your trust, win your understanding. Not that you didn't give it to him to begin with. Not that you couldn't, you know what I'm saying? You were put there on assignment. Y'all, we're always working. We're never not working. We're always working. And that is the first thing, to work. Now, if we get a little love with the work, if we get a little money, we'll take it. But we're always working for something bigger and something greater. We understand that. But when people cross paths with you, they don't know that. They don't know that if they can't get the job done alongside you, or if they interrupt your first job, then you have to interrupt the connection and walk away. They don't get it. They don't get it until you walk away. But it is in your absence that your true value and worth is felt, missed, and understood, right? Because when them 9 cups walk away and you go back to them same 10 cups and that same church family and that same church picnic, right? You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. And that is when the change happens. A lot of times we beat ourselves up for missing the moment, or for missing the person, or for not getting it right. But sometimes you just need to get a preview. Sometimes you just need to get a taste of the potential that you could have as a life experience. Sometimes God just take a shot. Just take this shot of true fulfillment. And now I'm going to take away the shot. And now I want you to go back to drinking that old nasty, stale ass beer you've been drinking. Y'all, and that beer is going to taste different. You're going to want to throw up. You've been drinking it your whole life. And all of a sudden you can't stand it. It's because you didn't have that shot. Sometimes the Most High gives people just a shot, just a little piece of you, so that they stop consuming the bullshit they've been consuming, thinking that it was true fulfillment. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.